The crystalline spires of Xyloth Academy pierced the lavender sky of Zeta 9, a testament to the pinnacle of intergalactic education. For millennia, the most brilliant minds from across the known universe had walked its hallowed halls, engaging in pursuits that pushed the boundaries of science, philosophy, and the arts. Today, however, marked a historic event that would send ripples through the fabric of this venerable institution. Amidst the usual bustle of the Academy's grand atrium, a crowd of curious onlookers gathered. Students of various species, some with tentacles, others with multiple eyes or exoskeletons, whispered excitedly among themselves. At the center of this commotion stood Dean Quarix, his translucent skin pulsating with anticipation as he addressed the assembly. Esteemed faculty and students of Xyloth Academy, Quarix's voice reverberated through the atrium, amplified by his natural resonance chambers. Today, we embark on an unprecedented journey. For the first time in our illustrious history, we welcome a student from a newly discovered sentient species, a human from the planet Earth. A wave of murmurs swept through the crowd. Humans were an enigma in the galactic community, having only recently achieved faster-than-light travel. Their inclusion in the Academy was a controversial decision, one that had sparked heated debates among the galactic academic elite. As if on cue, the atrium's main portal shimmered, and through it stepped a figure that seemed almost comically ordinary compared to the exotic beings surrounding her. Zara Chen, a young woman with black hair and determined brown eyes, took her first steps into Xyloth Academy. The silence that fell was deafening. Zara's gaze darted around, taking in the alien faces, some curious, others skeptical, a few openly hostile. She straightened her back, forcing a smile as she approached Dean Quarix. "Greetings, Dean Quarix," Zara said, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. "I am honored to be here." Quarix's skin rippled in what Zara hoped was a welcoming gesture. "Welcome, Zara Chen of Earth. We look forward to observing your progress at our esteemed institution." As Zara was led away to her quarters, the whispers erupted once more. Professor Zixix, a renowned astrophysicist with 3 heads and 6 arms, turned to his colleague. "This is preposterous," he hissed through his center mouth. "Humans barely understand the basics of quantum mechanics. How can one possibly keep up with our curriculum?" His colleague, Professor Elorix, a being of pure energy contained within a hovering orb, pulsed thoughtfully. "Perhaps that is precisely why this experiment is necessary, Zixix. We must study how a less advanced species adapts to superior knowledge." Meanwhile, Zara followed her guide, a hovering drone, through the twisting corridors of the Academy. The architecture was a marvel of non-Euclidean geometry, with rooms that seemed to fold in on themselves and hallways that defied the laws of physics as she understood them. Her quarters, when she reached them, were a stark reminder of her alien status. The bed was a gelatinous pod, the lighting adjusted to spectrums beyond human vision, and what she assumed was a bathroom facility looked more like a modern art installation. As the door sealed behind her with a soft hiss, Zara let out a long breath. "What have I gotten myself into?" she murmured, sinking onto the edge of the gelatinous bed. The next morning brought the true test, her first class. Zara arrived at the lecture hall for Advanced Multidimensional Calculus, feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation. As she entered, the chatter in the room died down, all eyes and other sensory organs turning to stare at her. Professor Vex, a being that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, began the lecture without preamble. Holographic equations filled the air, twisting and morphing in ways that made Zara's head spin. "Now, class," Vex's voice echoed from several points in space at once. "Who can tell me the solution to this 11-dimensional differential equation?" Several appendages shot up around the room. Zara's heart sank as she realized she couldn't even begin to comprehend the problem, let alone solve it. A tall, slender alien with iridescent scales, Vorn, as Zara would later learn, smoothly provided an answer that had Professor Vex's approval tentacles waving in delight. "Excellent, Vorn. As expected from our top student, Vex praised. Vorn turned, fixing Zara with a gaze that managed to convey smugness despite his alien features. Perhaps our new addition would like to attempt the next problem, he suggested, his voice dripping with false courtesy. All eyes turned to Zara once more. She felt her cheeks burn as she stammered, I'm afraid I'm not familiar with this level of mathematics yet." Titters and whispers broke out across the room. Professor Vex's disappointment was palpable, manifesting as a slight dimming of his multidimensional form. "I see," Vex said, his tone neutral but tinged with something that sounded suspiciously like confirmation of low expectations. "Well, Ms. Chen, it seems you have quite a bit of catching up to do." As the class continued, Zara struggled to follow even the basics of the lecture. The concepts flew over her head, quite literally in some cases, as equations danced in the air around her. She furiously took notes, determined to make sense of it all later. When the class finally ended, Zara rushed out, her head spinning with alien mathematics and the weight of her classmates' judgment. She was so preoccupied that she didn't notice the small tentacled being in her path until they collided. "Oh, I'm so sorry," Zora exclaimed, helping the alien gather its dropped Ada crystals. "No worries," came the reply, in a voice that sounded surprisingly close to human. "I'm used to being overlooked." Zara looked up to see a creature with large, expressive eyes and a tangle of delicate tentacles. Despite its alien appearance, there was something in its demeanor that struck Zora as candid. "I'm Zora," she offered, extending her hand before realizing the gesture might not translate. To her surprise, one tentacle wrapped gently around her fingers in a handshake-like motion. "Klex," the alien replied. "You're the human, aren't you? That was quite an entrance yesterday." Zara laughed nervously. "Yeah, that's me. The Academy's latest sideshow attraction." Klex's eyes crinkled in what Zara interpreted as a smile. "Don't let them get to you. Most of them were born into knowledge. They've never had to truly learn." As they walked together towards the next class, Zara felt a small spark of hope. Perhaps she wasn't as alone in this alien world as she had thought. Little did Zara know that her presence at Psyloth Academy was about to set in motion a chain of events that would challenge the very foundations of intergalactic academia and force the universe to reassess its understanding of human potential. First contact and cultural shock. The skies above New York City erupted in a dazzling display of light, causing millions to gasp in awe. A massive ship, unlike anything humanity had ever seen, descended through the atmosphere. Its surface shimmered with an iridescent glow, defying conventional physics as it moved silently through the air. Dr. Elena Kovacs stood among a group of world leaders and top scientists at the hastily prepared landing site in Central Park. Her heart raced as she watched the alien vessel touch down, its size dwarfing the surrounding skyscrapers. "This is it," she whispered to Dr. James Chen, who stood beside her. "Everything changes today." A hush fell over the crowd as a section of the ship's hull seamlessly dissolved, revealing a ramp. The first alien beings to ever set foot on Earth emerged, their forms both familiar and utterly foreign. The lead alien, tall and slender with silvery skin and large almond-shaped eyes, approached the human delegation. It raised a hand with 6 elongated fingers in what seemed to be a gesture of peace. "Greetings, people of Earth." The alien spoke, its voice resonating in the minds of all present rather than through the air. "I am Ambassador Zixlian of the Galactic Confederation. We come in peace and with great interest in your species." President Evelyn Carter stepped forward, her voice steady despite the momentous occasion. "On behalf of humanity, we welcome you to Earth. We are honored by your presence and eager to learn from you." As the formal greetings concluded, the real challenges began. The cultural differences between humans and their alien visitors quickly became apparent, leading to a series of misunderstandings that ranged from comical to nearly disastrous. During the first diplomatic dinner, the alien delegation was presented with Earth's finest cuisines. Ambassador Zixlian, attempting to show appreciation, consumed an entire plate of sushi, chopsticks, and all, much to the horror of the Japanese Prime Minister. "We meant no offense," Zixlian explained telepathically, sensing the human's distress. "In our culture, consuming the serving implements is the highest form of compliment to the chef." Dr. Kovacs, tasked with explaining human customs, found herself in increasingly awkward situations. When she attempted to shake hands with one of the alien scientists, she discovered that physical contact initiated a temporary psychic link, flooding her mind with alien memories and emotions. "Fascinating," the alien scientist, Vexthor, commented as Elena stumbled back, overwhelmed. "Your species' method of greeting is quite invasive. We had no idea humans were such open telepaths." As days passed, more aliens arrived, representing various species from across the galaxy. Earth became a melting pot of cosmic cultures, with each interaction bringing new surprises and challenges. One particularly tense moment occurred when a misunderstanding nearly led to an interplanetary incident. A group of aliens from the aquatic world of Hydros 9, resembling bioluminescent octopi, arrived at the United Nations headquarters. Mistaking the building's water coolers for personal accommodation, they'd promptly made themselves at home, much to the bewilderment of UN staff. When security personnel attempted to rescue the aliens, it was interpreted as an act of aggression. It took the combined efforts of Dr. Kovacs, Ambassador Zixlian, and a quick-thinking intern with a degree in marine biology to defuse the situation. Perhaps, Elena suggested, wiping sweat from her brow after the Hydros 9 incident, we should establish a cultural exchange program. It's clear we have a lot to learn about each other. The idea gained traction quickly. Soon, humans and aliens alike were participating in workshops, seminars, and immersive experiences designed to bridge the gap between their vastly different societies. Dr. James Chen found himself teaching a class on human emotions to a group of silicon-based life forms who communicated primarily through color changes in their crystalline bodies. "You see," he explained, pointing to a diagram of the human brain, "our emotions are closely tied to our physical bodies. When we're happy, we might smile or laugh." The alien students flickered in various shades of blue, which James had learned indicated confusion. One of them raised a crystalline appendage. "But doctor," it chimed in a melodious tone, "why would the release of air from your speech orifice indicate pleasure? Is this not a waste of precious oxygen?" James chuckled, causing another wave of blue confusion to ripple through his class. "Well, when you put it that way." Meanwhile, Elena was deep in discussion with Vexthor about the nature of human scientific inquiry. The alien was particularly puzzled by the concept of peer review. "You mean to say," Vexthor clarified. Its antennae twitching in what Elena had learned was a sign of deep thought, "that you allow other scientists to criticize and potentially disprove your work before it's accepted." Elena nodded. "Yes, it's an essential part of our scientific process. It helps ensure the validity of our findings." Vexthor's skin shifted to a deep purple, which Elena recognized as the alien equivalent of a smile. "Fascinating. In our society, scientific discoveries are immediately implemented. The concept of questioning a scientist's work would be seen as deeply disrespectful." This exchange led to a series of debates about the nature of scientific progress, with both humans and aliens gaining new perspectives on their approaches to knowledge and discovery. As the days turned into weeks, the initial shock of alien contact began to wear off, replaced by a growing sense of wonder and possibility. Humans and aliens worked together on joint scientific projects, shared art and music, and even began to form friendships. One particularly touching moment occurred when a young human girl, fascinated by the bioluminescent patterns of the Hydros 9 aliens, spent hours creating a light show for them using glow sticks and flashlights. The aliens were so moved by this gesture that they taught the girl how to modulate her body's electrical field to create similar patterns, much to the amazement of watching scientists. However, not all interactions were positive. Some humans, driven by fear or prejudice, protested against the alien presence. Conspiracy theories spread like wildfire across the internet, claiming the aliens had sinister intentions. In response, Ambassador Zixelian proposed a bold idea: a live, global broadcast where citizens from around the world could ask questions directly to the alien representatives. The event was a media sensation. Billions tuned in as humans from all walks of life posed questions to their cosmic visitors. The aliens, in turn, demonstrated remarkable patience and openness, addressing concerns and sharing insights into their own societies. One poignant moment came when a farmer from rural India asked about alien agricultural practices. The response from a photosynthetic being from a distant gas giant led to an impromptu discussion on sustainable farming that captured the imagination of millions. As the broadcast concluded, Dr. Alina Kovacs found herself standing next to Ambassador Zixelian, watching the sun set over New York City. "Your species continues to surprise us," Zixelian communicated telepathically. "We came here expecting to find primitive beings, but instead, we've discovered a race of remarkable potential." Alina smiled, feeling a surge of pride for humanity. "We still have a long way to go, but I believe this is just the beginning of an incredible journey for all of us." As night fell, the city below them twinkled with lights, mirroring the stars above. Humans and aliens alike looked to the sky, no longer seeing it as a vast, empty void, but as a cosmic neighborhood full of wonders waiting to be explored. The stage was set for the next phase of humanity's cosmic adventure. With first contact established and cultural exchanges underway, Earth prepared to face its greatest challenge yet, proving its worth to join the galactic community. The galactic trial awaited, and humanity would need all its ingenuity, courage, and newfound alien alliances to succeed. Cultural clashes and unlikely friendships. The days that followed Zora's arrival at Sci-Fi Academy were a whirlwind of alien concepts, cultural misunderstandings, and academic challenges. Each class presented a new set of hurdles, from quantum entanglement cuisine, where the ingredients existed in multiple states simultaneously, to telepathic literature, a subject that left Zora with migraines as she struggled to project her thoughts onto the psychic reading tablets. Despite the difficulties, Zora refused to give up. Late into the night cycles, she could be found in the library, surrounded by holographic textbooks and interactive star charts, desperately trying to bridge the gap between her Earth education and the advanced knowledge of her peers. It was during one of these late-night study sessions that Zora's friendship with Klex began to solidify. The tentacled alien often joined her, offering insights and explanations that somehow made the incomprehensible slightly more manageable. "I don't get it, Klex," Zora sighed one night, pushing away a floating diagram of a hyperdimensional engine. "How do you understand all of this so easily?" Klex's tentacles rippled in what Zora had come to recognize as amusement. "Easily? Oh, Zora, I struggled just as much as you do. I'm from a species that values emotional intelligence over academic prowess. Most of my kind never even leave our home planet." Zora blinked in surprise. "But you're here, at the most prestigious academy in the galaxy." "Yes," Klex replied, a hint of sadness in their multifaceted eyes. "And I'm reminded every day how much I don't belong. But seeing you, a human from a planet that's barely achieved interstellar travel, working so hard, it inspires me to keep trying." From that moment, a bond formed between the human girl and the empathic alien, two outsiders finding solace in each other's company. However, not everyone at the academy was as welcoming as Klex. Vorn, the top student Zora had encountered in her first class, seemed to take personal offense at the human's presence. His disdain was palpable, manifesting in snide comments and orchestrated humiliations. During a practical lesson in applied telekinesis, Vorn saw his opportunity to put the human in her place, as Zora concentrated on lifting a small object with her mind, a feat humans had never accomplished. Vorn used his superior psychic abilities to interfere, causing the object to fly across the room and knock over a precarious stack of unstable elements. The resulting explosion of colors and odors filled the classroom, clinging to Zara's clothes and hair. As her classmates laughed, Vorn's smug satisfaction was clear. "Oh dear," he said, his voice dripping with false concern. "It seems humans lack the mental discipline for even the simplest telekinetic tasks. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable in the remedial classes, Zara." Zara felt her cheeks burn with humiliation, but before she could respond, an unexpected voice spoke up. "That's enough, Vorn," came the firm tone of Professor Tyleth, their bioluminescent tendrils pulsing with disapproval. "Your attempt at sabotage was painfully obvious. See me after class to discuss your detention." As Vorn sputtered in indignation, Zara felt a mix of relief and vindication. She caught Professor Tyleth's gaze and received what she hoped was a supportive nod. The incident marked a turning point. While it didn't end Vorn's animosity, it showed Zara that not all the faculty were dismissive of her potential. Moreover, it sparked curiosity among some of her classmates. If a professor was willing to stand up for the human, perhaps there was more to her than met the eye. As the academic cycle progressed, Zara began to find her footing. While she still struggled with the advanced concepts, her unique perspective started to draw attention. In comparative xenobiology, her first-hand knowledge of Earth's diverse ecosystems provided insights that even the extensive galactic databases lacked. During one particularly engaging lecture on adaptive evolution, Zara found herself the center of attention as she described Earth's platypus. "Wait," interrupted a gelatinous student, their translucent body rippling with confusion. "You're saying this creature is a mammal, but it lays eggs, has a duck-like bill, and the males have venomous spurs." Zara nodded, a smile playing on her lips. "That's right. Evolution on Earth has produced some pretty unexpected results." Professor Zixtal, a being composed of swirling gases, drifted closer. "Fascinating. The chaotic nature of Earth's evolutionary process seems to have led to solutions we haven't encountered elsewhere in the galaxy. Zara, would you be willing to compile a report on other unique Earth species? I believe it could provide valuable insights into alternative evolutionary strategies." For the first time since her arrival, Zara felt a surge of confidence. Here was something she could contribute, a way to show her worth to the Academy. As she worked on the report with Klex's help, Zara's passion for her home planet's biodiversity shone through. She included not just the obvious choices like the platypus, but also the tardigrade's resilience, the mimic octopus's adaptability, and the bizarre life cycles of parasitic fungi. The report was a hit, not just with Professor Zixtal, but with much of the faculty. Suddenly, Zara found herself fielding questions about Earth's ecosystems from students and teachers alike. It wasn't mastery of advanced alien science, but it was a start, a way to bridge the gap between her world and theirs. However, her small success didn't go unnoticed by Vorn and his clique. If anything, it seemed to intensify their resentment. Whispers followed Zara through the halls, insinuations that she was getting special treatment, that her contributions were being overvalued due to the novelty of her species. Despite the growing tensions, Zara found herself settling into a routine. Her friendship with Klex deepened, and she even began to form tentative bonds with a few other outcasts. A chronally displaced student who experienced time non-linearly, and a silicon-based life form who struggled with the Academy's primarily carbon-centric curriculum. It was during a study session with this eclectic group that Zara stumbled upon an unexpected talent. They were grappling with a particularly challenging problem in quantum mechanics, one that had the entire group stumped. As they argued over various approaches, Zara found her mind wandering, making connections that seemed, at first, completely unrelated. "Wait," she said suddenly, interrupting a heated debate about Heisenberg matrices. "What if we look at this from a completely different angle? On Earth, we have this game called Tetris." What followed was a breakdown of the problem using gaming logic, pattern recognition, and spatial reasoning that left her friends baffled but intrigued. It wasn't a traditional solution by any means, But as they worked through Zora's approach, they found it elegantly solved the problem in a way none of them had considered. Zora, Klex said, their eyes wide with amazement, I think you've just invented a new way of approaching quantum theory. The human girl blinked, looking down at the mess of diagrams and equations they'd scrawled out. I just thought about it differently, that's all. Exactly, the chronically displaced students said, their form flickering as they experienced the conversation across multiple time streams simultaneously. You brought a perspective none of us could have. This could be revolutionary. As news of Zora's innovative approach spread, it caught the attention of the faculty. Professor Xylith, who had defended her in the telekinesis class, took a particular interest. Ms. Chin, they said, approaching her after a lecture, bioluminescent tendrils pulsing with excitement. Your solution to the quantum locality problem is most intriguing. I believe you may have stumbled upon a cognitive approach unique to your species. With your permission, I'd like to conduct a series of tests to explore this further. In one particularly tense moment, the humans were asked to communicate with a gaseous species that existed in 11 dimensions. Dr. Kovacs, drawing on her experience with the quantum signal, proposed using modulated quantum fields to bridge the dimensional gap. To everyone's surprise, it worked. The gaseous being's response was translated, revealing a poem of haunting beauty that moved many in the council to what could only be described as tears, despite the vast physiological differences. Throughout the trial, the human delegation demonstrated not just knowledge and skill, but also their unique traits of creativity, adaptability, and determination. Where they lacked in advanced technology or long-established cosmic wisdom, they made up for with innovative thinking and an indomitable spirit. As the trial neared its end, the Arbiter posed one final challenge. A holographic Earth appeared, surrounded by various alien ships and structures. Your world stands at a crossroads, the Arbiter announced. Show us your vision for Earth's future as part of the galactic community. The human delegation huddled together, quickly discussing their approach. When they turned back to the council, it was not one voice that spoke, but many. Each member of the delegation contributed, painting a picture of a future Earth that was both proudly human and thoroughly integrated into the cosmic civilization. They described cities that blended terrestrial and alien architectures, universities where humans and extraterrestrials studied side by side, and joint scientific ventures that tackled the greatest mysteries of the universe. They spoke of Earth becoming a hub of interstellar culture, a place where the art, music, and philosophies of 1,000 worlds could mingle and create something entirely new. As they spoke, the holographic Earth transformed, reflecting their words. It became a shining beacon of diversity and progress, a world that honored its roots while reaching for the stars. When they finished, a profound silence fell over the hall. The Arbiter's form pulsed and shifted as it processed everything it had seen and heard. Finally, it spoke. Beings of Earth, throughout this trial, you have demonstrated qualities that are rare and valuable. Your species is young, and in many ways, still developing. Yet you have shown remarkable potential. The human delegation held their breath, the fate of their entire species hanging on the Arbiter's next words. It is the decision of this council, the Arbiter continued, that humanity be granted probationary membership in the galactic community. You will be given access to certain technologies and knowledge, under the guidance of appointed mentors. Your progress will be monitored, and in one galactic cycle, you will be evaluated again for full membership. A cheer erupted from the human delegation, quickly echoed by many of the alien spectators. They had done it. Earth was now, officially, part of a much larger universe. As the formal proceedings concluded, Dr. Kovacs found herself approached by beings from a dozen different worlds, all eager to discuss potential collaborations or simply to satisfy their curiosity about humanity. You know, Ambassador Zixlian said, appearing at her side, many on the council believed this trial would be a mere formality, a way to politely deny your species entry into the galactic community. You have surprised us all. Elena smiled, feeling a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. That's what humans do best, Ambassador. We surprise ourselves as much as we surprise others. As the human delegation prepared to return to Earth, carrying with them the monumental news of their success, they knew that the real challenge was just beginning. They had earned their place among the stars, but now they had to prove they deserved to keep it. The next phase of human history was about to unfold, one that would take them beyond the bounds of their home planet and into the vast, waiting cosmos. The quantum pulse had been just the beginning. Now, humanity stood ready to make its true debut on the galactic stage. The Galactic Academic Olympics. The grand amphitheater of Xyloth Academy buzzed with excitement. Students of all species crowded the seats, their varied forms creating a living tapestry of galactic diversity. At the center stage, Dean Quarix's translucent form shimmered as he prepared to make an announcement that would change the course of the academic year. Esteemed faculty and students, his voice resonated through the hall. It is my great pleasure to announce the commencement of this cycle's Galactic Academic Olympics. A wave of excitement rippled through the audience. The Olympics were a prestigious event, drawing the brightest minds from academies across the galaxy to compete in challenges that pushed the boundaries of known science and theory. As always, Quarix continued, the Olympics will test not just your knowledge, but your ability to apply it in innovative ways. This year's theme: multiversal harmonics and their applications in practical science. Zara, sitting between Klex and her small group of misfit friends, felt a mix of awe and trepidation. The topic sounded impossibly advanced, even by the standards of what she'd been studying. Additionally, Quarix added, his skin pulsing with what Zara had learned was the equivalent of a sly smile. In the spirit of fostering diverse perspectives, participation is mandatory for all students. A hush fell over the crowd, followed by a burst of murmurs. Mandatory participation was unprecedented. Zara felt the weight of numerous eyes and other sensory organs turned towards her. As the only human in the academy, her involvement would be a subject of intense scrutiny. As the assembly dispersed, Vorn sauntered past Zara's group, his iridescent scales shimmering with smug confidence. Well, he sneered, it seems the Olympics Committee is in need of some comic relief this year. Try not to embarrass your species too much, human. Before Zara could retort, Klex's tentacles whipped out, forming a barrier between her and Vorn. Save it for the competition, Vorn, Klex said, their usually gentle voice carrying an edge of steel. As Vorn slithered away, Zara turned to her friends. I'm doomed, she groaned. Multiversal harmonics. I barely understand our own universe, let alone multiple ones. The chronically displaced student, Zara, flickered into focus. Don't sell yourself short, Zara. Your unique way of thinking could be an advantage. I've seen your potential outcomes. Some of them are quite surprising. Zara's right, added Klex. You've already shown you can approach problems in ways none of us would think of. This is your chance to prove yourself to the entire academy. Emboldened by her friend's support, Zara threw herself into preparation for the Olympics. Her study sessions became more intense, often stretching into the late hours of the night cycle. She pored over texts on quantum mechanics, string theory, and the fundamentals of multiversal theory, struggling to grasp concepts that seemed to defy the very laws of physics as she knew them. Professor Xylith, intrigued by Zora's unique problem-solving methods, offered to mentor her. Their sessions were grueling but enlightening, pushing Zara to expand her understanding of the universe, or rather, universes, in ways she never thought possible. Remember, Zara, Xylith would say, their bioluminescent tendrils pulsing with encouragement. The key is not to think of multiple universes as separate entities, but as harmonious vibrations of a single, infinitely complex cosmic string. As the Olympics approached, the entire academy was abuzz with activity. Students could be seen huddled in groups, discussing theories and practicing complex calculations. The air crackled with a mixture of excitement and tension. The first round of the Olympics was a written exam, testing the participants' theoretical knowledge. Zara entered the exam hall, her heart pounding. As she looked at the questions, her initial panic gave way to a sense of calm. Thanks to her intense preparation, she recognized most of the concepts. Where she struggled, she fell back on her unique way of visualizing problems, drawing parallels to things she understood from Earth. When the results were announced, Zara was shocked to find she had scored in the top 20% of participants. It wasn't a spectacular showing, but it was enough to advance her to the next round. And to turn a few heads, the second round was a practical application challenge. Participants were tasked with designing a device that could detect and measure multiversal resonances. Zara found herself drawing inspiration from an unlikely source: the echolocation of Earth's bats and dolphins. Her design, a hybrid of quantum sensors and biomimetic audio processors, was unorthodox but effective. The judges were intrigued by her approach, awarding her high marks for innovation. Vorn, who had been confident of his superior knowledge, was visibly frustrated to see the human advancing alongside him. As Zara progressed through the rounds, her confidence grew. She wasn't always the top performer, but her unique perspectives consistently earned her points for creativity and original thinking. Her success was not without challenges, however. The complex calculations and abstract concepts often left her mentally exhausted, and there were nights when she questioned whether she could keep up. It was during one of these moments of doubt that she received an unexpected visitor. Dean Corrix himself appeared at her study nook, his translucent form glowing softly in the dim light. "Ms. Chen," he said, his voice a gentle resonance, "your performance in the Olympics has not gone unnoticed. You've shown remarkable adaptability and ingenuity." Zara, surprised by the dean's presence, stammered her thanks. "However," Corrix continued, "I must warn you. Your success has made you controversial. There are those who question whether a human should be allowed to compete at this level. Be prepared for increased scrutiny in the coming rounds." As the dean departed, Zara felt a mixture of pride and apprehension. She had come to Sci-Fi Academy to prove that humans could compete on a galactic stage. Now it seemed she was on the verge of doing just that. And not everyone was happy about it. The final rounds of the Olympics approached, promising to be the most challenging yet. Zara knew she would need every ounce of her creativity and newfound knowledge to succeed. As she prepared for the ultimate tests, she couldn't help but feel that she was representing not just herself, but the potential of her entire species. Little did she know that her journey through the Galactic Academic Olympics was about to take an unexpected turn, one that would challenge not just her intellect, but her integrity and courage as well. The true test was yet to come, and its outcome would have implications far beyond the walls of Sci-Fi Academy.